Okay, we're officially recording. Hi, I'm Nancy Harkness, and this is Susan Carlisle. And we are here for episode 4 of Pulling Back the Curtain. So, Susan, you have some really cool book news. Let's hear about it.
I do. I can't believe this is our fourth time. Time flies. But my book news is that I was the first runner-up in the Georgia Author of the Year Award.
Oh,
That they call it a finalist, and then they have the winner. But it's the first runner-up, and I was really tickled. The field that was full of my friends, which was always fun, and then I was fifth in the Nest contest, which is an Oklahoma group of romance writers, and I'm a finalist in the Maggie. One more time. Let's hope I get to walk across the stage. But that field of people is all my friends also. There's only one person on there that I don't know like really, really well. So but if you're gonna not win, it's good to lose to your team.
oh. No, I was just thinking, gosh, sorry for them.
No, they're really good. In fact, I went shopping a few minutes ago. Amazon and I haven't been getting along for some months, and I went back and said, okay, I got to buy some books. I got Nancy's book, and I bought 6 more because I like to read my competition before the actual awards are given. So I didn't even look at the price. I just kept click, 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 click. I've got plenty of good, and I know they're good because if they find out they're good. Nancy, tell us what you've got. You've got.
Bless you. Well, don't you have something else to show us, like copies of your latest book?
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to get up to get it. Go ahead. Let me get.
All right. Well, I'll talk then. So. Yeah. Of course, Royal Caleva Luis launched on June 25th, and I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off because launch week is always crazy. But the good news is that I always make a donation to an animal rescue group when I launch it. And they get the royalties from all the pre-orders and the first week's sales. And this year, I donated to Clarion Paws, which is an animal rescue group near Pittsburgh, because my Dr. Darling daughter, as I call her, my daughter, the veterinarian, highly recommended it. And because people were great and really, I always donate at least $1,000, but people were so generous and supportive about buying my book that I ended up being able to donate $2,000. And this cute little kitty is Crumpet, who was a foster fail for the nice lady who's my contact at Clarion Paws. And so she bought my book, and she and Crumpet read it together, evidently. And by the way, that's one of my kitties over there curled up into a ball on the cat tree that you can see behind me there. That's Skoda. Not that you can really tell, he looks like a lump, but it is Skoda. So Gabrielle, Royal Caleva Gabrielle, won 3rd place in the Nest contest, the National Excellence in Storytelling that Susan was also a winner in. And I just want to point out, because the Nest contest is not just for romance novels. So Susan, I think you should be very proud, because we were competing with all different kinds of novels. They were just all contemporary stories. So, 5th and 3rd, I think that's pretty good. I'm proud of us.
Most definitely.
I'm proud of us. Do you want to show us your new book, and then I'll talk about the rest of my stuff?
Yeah. This is my new book, and I thought they gave me a really nice cover, and it's an good night, an Irish vet in Kentucky, and it's a companion to the one before it, which was Falling for the Trauma Doc. And this doesn't come out till September. So, but I'm really proud of it. So
Good for
I
you.
love the cover. The colors are so beautiful and soft and lovely.
it is large print, and they've gone to this larger size, and
Mhm.
people love it. This is the standard book now. And
Oh, good.
Oh, okay.
in the larger print, and that
So is
So-
it this, it's trade paperback like this, basically?
Uh-huh.
5.5.
no, I don't think it's quite as big as yours.
Okay.
I think it's a few inches smaller, but it's about 2 inches wider and an inch taller than what it was.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, they get
Nice.
some nice, they made a nice addition. They're always tweaking the covers, but this time
Mhm.
the size, which I think people will appreciate.
Cool.
Mhm.
So
Tell us-
I have audio news because, so number one, I amused myself by making this graphic where I gave Luis headphones because it's about his audiobook, right? Come on. I got a kick out of that. Sometimes I just have to entertain myself. So Luis is available in audio. I put a link in the chat, and I thought I'd play a little sample so you could hear what it sounds like.
Luis Dragon, king of Caleva, nodded to the young woman wearing a dark suit. She curtsied before scurrying out of the private chamber where the king, his son Prince Raoul, and his assistant Bruno waited. Luis was here to preside over the annual opening of the new session of the 2 legislative consejos that helped govern Caleva. He treasured this particular ceremony because each year he used it to set forth his hopes, dreams, and plans for the country he both led and served, the country he loved to the marrow of his bones.
Hmm.
Nick
Yeah.
Nick Mills narrates this, and I think he does a very good job with all the foreign words, which aren't so easy. So, and then
Right.
my other piece of audio news is that Gabrielle's audiobook is on sale right now. The link is in the comments. It's only $12 if you get it from, oh, sorry. Gosh, my phone is blowing up. It's only $12 if you get it from the link that's in the comments, which is audiobooks.com, maybe. I've forgotten now, but so get him cheap. And I think, yeah, so that was it for my news. So Susan, what are you working on now?
I am starting my 38th Harlequin, and
Wow.
it takes place in Yosemite National Park. And I dictated the first 1,000 words this morning. Haven't seen them on page yet because I've been working on some other stuff, but I'm going to do that this evening. And so, and I sent off 20 pages of a nonfiction for an editor to look at and consider. So, I will be in a panic if he takes that and says, hurry up and write it. So, that'll be a whole nother thing, but, I'm staying busy, and I was interviewed, the, other day by, Bernadette on a podcast. So, that is out there. And, I was also interviewed today for another podcast by Polly Campbell. So, I've throwing a few things around and out there to see what's
Good for
going.
you.
Well, you're a podcast queen there, Susan. Wow.
I like what we're doing, and the podcast
Aw.
talking are easy for me. So, I've kind of been, shaking the trees a little bit to join some. So,
Mhm.
Gotcha. Oh, that's cool. So I'm working on Raoul's book, which is the book after Luis. Luis's son Raoul is the crown prince of Caleva, and I just had to cut the first 2 chapters because my critique group looked at them and said these don't really work where they
Mm.
are. And so they're the royal wedding, because in Gabrielle's book, Gabrielle and Quinn are engaged, and they because it takes a long time to plan a royal wedding, they are not married in Luis's book, but they are getting married in Raoul's book. So at least hopefully with some revising, I'll be able to move those 2 chapters later in the book and they will work there. But right now I'm starting, basically going back and revising chapter 3 and making that the beginning of the book now. So I'm really curious, Susan, how often do you have to delete scenes, and do you use them again, or do you mostly just throw them away?
I don't throw anything away. I cut it, put it in a file that says cut scenes or even a book to be. I'm going to take all of those cut scenes and write a book out of them one of the days. You know, change and have the same character name, but I'm gonna use every single one of those things and come up with some kind of pithy title for it. And because I don't believe those words are too hard to come by to
Yeah.
throw away. So, but it's not unusual to say, get to about the third chapter and go, yeah, the book starts here, you know, and
Oh,
that's part of it. And I do that pretty regular and have to
Oh,
go
yeah.
back, shift things around, but I know I try not to throw too much away at all. So
I like that. I can't wait to read this book that's all the deleted scenes put together. I think that's hilarious.
it may not be smooth, so to but it
Yeah,
always
so I mean, it's
is.
funny because I do the same thing. I cut the scene and then I very carefully save it and then basically never look at it again. Although these scenes, because they're the wedding and the wedding really does have to take place in this book, I figured these scenes I will be able to use in some form or another. But I actually cut a scene out of Luisa's book that I think I'm gonna, like give to my newsletter subscribers as kind of a fun extra. Do you ever do that? Because I've heard a lot of people do that.
I have not done that because I'm keeping mine to make a book out of. But that is a good way to do it. I usually if I'm sharing a scene, it's usually from the book and do a
Gotcha. I know, but it's sort of like an extra, right? They get to they get to see behind the scenes, kind of, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I generally the scenes that I delete don't really hold together enough to share them, but the one from Louisa's book is just a very lovely family picnic, which I had a lot of fun writing, but it really didn't need to be there. So, and everybody said that really doesn't need to be there. So I just yanked the whole thing out. And so I'm thinking, well, that would be kind of a nice extra. So I might do that because I'm not as ambitious as you are, Susan. I want to turn them all into a book. I'm like, heck no. Once it's gone, out of sight, out of mind for me.
it may not be worth being a book when I get down to it, but the one time I remember that I was asked to remove stuff that I really liked, it took place at Gulf Shores around on the Gulf, and it was two fishermen, older fishermen, and one had got a hook in his hand. Well, that part I kept, but they did not like. The two fishermen were funny, the banter between the two fishermen, and it took away from the primary characters. And I loved that banter so well. I thought, well, I'm not going to lose that. I can just, cut and paste and put that somewhere else, and I'll, use those as a character, later on. But and then I've had a couple of times that I kind of went off on a rabbit trail, and those
I don't believe it.
yeah, those things had to come out. So, but
yeah, I mean, we all do that. Unless, I mean, some people are very disciplined plotters. As you know, I am a total pantser, so I have no discipline whatsoever. But yeah, so I'm with you. I like veer off a lot.
my pantsing is I wake up in the morning and go, what are they supposed to do now? And there I am.
Isn't that the truth? I'm really struggling. Actually, I'm having a hard time with Raoul's book now because I am sort of going, what is he going to do now? I mean, I think I don't understand him well enough yet to really get going full speed. I think I'm still sort of tentatively developing his character in my own mind, and that's why I'm going very slowly.
Interesting.
I get about halfway through the book and go, okay, I understand them now. And then I have to go back and clean up the front part.
Yeah.
I know the second half of the book exactly how what they're going to say and how they're going to react to everything. Where at the front, I don't know them well enough to do that. So
Yeah. But I mean, my problem is I can't even come up with a plot until I know him a little better. I had this plot in my head and I started moving in that direction, and he's being very resistant to going in that direction. I'm like, okay, there's something I don't know here that I need to know.
having like race cars or take a horse ride or these are things that I think the royals are supposed to be doing. Or what is it? Racing boats?
Cigarette
Carolina
boats or whatever those, or like the sailboat.
Yeah. Carolina Monaco, lost her husband racing a boat.
Yeah.
And but those are fun things
They are fun. Right now he's going rock climbing.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course the joke is I would be terrified if I went rock climbing. So, I'm learning all this stuff about rock climbing, and the whole time I'm watching these videos and going, oh my God, this looks terrifying. They're gonna fall, So
Mhm.
I think
The
I
one
do think writing's kind of a way to confront our fears, don't you, Susan?
Yeah, yeah. And the rock climbers that are the free rock climbers that don't
Oh.
put a rope.
Uh,
I mean, really. And they do that in Yosemite on the El Capitan. That's the big thing. And I'm thinking, y'all don't impress me. Y'all are stupid.
I got to agree with you. He's not doing free climbing. And number one, he's a prince and he can't afford to,
Well, that's true.
die rock climbing. But
Yeah,
anyway, yeah, it's interesting. So, should we play book trivia?
we
Do
can.
you want to ask your question?
Let's see. What state in the United States do you like the best? How about that? That's an odd question, but
Wait, so it's not on, is that on your website?
it should be. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought your question was going to be something different.
Okay. Well, wait a minute. Maybe it is.
Susan's gone off script here. I just want you to know.
Completely. I've gone to sleep on me.
She's gone completely off script.
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna try this again. But I've shown this, and this is the answer. So that's not going to work. How about that? Completely off script. So,
Oh my goodness.
what was the name of my third book? How about that? That is on my website.
Okay, and what does Charles's iPad win if gets that right?
And we had a copy of this. That's
cool. Hey, no fear, I want to enter.
Nancy's gonna get a new partner here. Go, what you got?
So my trivia question is, where is my fictional country of Kaleva located? And hint is the answer is on the series page on my website for Royal Kaleva. And I can't call you by your real name because I don't want to have it in public, but Charles's iPad will win Royal Kaleva Gabrielle if they get that right. Oh, you know what I forgot to tell you? I have free audio codes to give, 2 free audio codes to give away if you're interested in listening to Luis on audio. If you just write audio, put audio in the chat and your email address, then I can send you a code. So I completely forgot to say that. Okay, so now it's, what did you do this summer? What have you done so far this summer, Susan?
Listen, we had a big 4th of July. By the time the end of the week and people had shifted in and out, I think we were up to 60 people that had come, but we had 56 for 4th of July lunch. And
oh my word.
My whole family, my immediate family, my 2 brothers and their families, all had their picture taken with my mother, and there were 42 blood related. So we took up all the steps of the deck So that was exciting. And I haven't done it yet, but I'm gonna get my mother a printed copy of that to hang on her wall. And
Mm.
it was hot as Hades. And the water, the lake water is used to generate for electricity. So it lowered, because of the hot days.
Oh,
And that made the water in the cove hot. So it wasn't cooling you in or out of the water. You were just wet. But we had a blast, and we had a week's worth of smiling and being kind to everybody. So
aw.
the time we got home, we all kind of let loose. But how about you, Nancy? How was your summer going?
Well, I just started a construction project. My back patio. So I bought the house moved into the house right before the pandemic started, and I intended to do a whole new back deck. So they put just a temporary deck on, and I was over this just sort of cracked cement patio, and I've been meaning to redo it ever since then. So it's been 5 years. So finally, yesterday, they started demolition of the cement patio, and I have got a splitting headache because they're jackhammering all the cement up, and so noisy. And to be fair, I feel so bad for the guys who are doing it because it is boiling hot here. And they're right on top of the jackhammer, so they have the noise and the heat, and I keep giving them ice cold water over and over again. I think they're getting tired of me saying, "Wouldn't you like some water?" Because I just feel terrible for them. But I think it's going to be really great when it's done. I spent like 2 weeks looking at pavers and blocks and stuff like that, and trees, because we're going to have a couple of planters. And so that part was fun. This part's not so fun because I work at home. This is my office. I just can't write because the noise is horrendous. So I like bolted for the grocery store, and then when they break for lunch, that's when I come home and sit in my office and do things, because at least it's quiet at that moment. And of course, construction projects always take longer than they think they will. They were like, "Oh, we'll be done with demolition in a day." Well, guess what? They're still not done, and tomorrow's Wednesday. So they figure they'll finish tomorrow, and they may even get started on some of the construction tomorrow. But it looks like it's not going to be finished until late next week now. But could be worse. At least it's outdoors, so all the like dust and dirt and stuff is outside. But I have a giant sign on my kitchen slider that says "Danger, no exit," because there's no longer a deck there, so you would fall
Oh, that
3
step
feet
off.
right. You step off, you fall down three or 4 feet, and it's not that anyone else is going to do it, but I know I would open that door and try and walk out the deck. So I made a giant sign to keep myself from killing myself. So that's the fun that I'm having right now.
Oh, but you'll love it when you get it. And the pictures of your backyard and the birds and the flowers and everything with that new deck. Oh, it'll look great, I bet.
I sure hope so. I know I feel so bad because the little chipmunks who live around there have just like vanished. They haven't hurt them or anything, but the noise has obviously chased them away. I'm still giving them bird seed because that's what they like to eat. And every now and then they'll like walk across the construction disaster area, but mostly they've gone into hiding, and I can't blame them. So I just hope they come back.
Oh yeah.
They will.
They'll be like Chip and Dale. You can't get rid of them,
There's a food source. They'll come.
But they're so cute.
Exactly. Well, our question tonight is, what book have you read more than 3 times, and why?
Okay, so there are actually a fair number of books that I've read more than 3 times, even though I generally don't reread books. But this one, Georgette Hayer's Venetia, I have lost count of how many times I've read it. Now, this is my fancy, pretty copy that one of my children gave me that has like illustrations. And this is not the one that I read over and over again. I read a, crummy paperback that is falling apart. But it's a Regency romance. And what I love about it is that, well, the hero, who is Lord Damerel, who is he's a rake. And so he's very charming, he's very sexy. But what I love about it is that he and the heroine, Venetia, when they banter, they tend to like quote poetry at each other, which I just, as a teenager, when I first read the book, I thought that was the height of sophisticated flirting. You know, if you could quote poetry, witty poetry. I mean, it's not like sappy poetry, but witty poetry. And there's also a forced proximity trope in it, which is something I enjoy. So it's just, I love so many of Georgette Heyer's books, but I think this Venetia is my all-time favorite. So they're very chaste. I will say that. Oh, that was the other thing that was interesting about this book. They kiss very early in the book, which is highly unusual for a Georgette Heyer Regency romance, where generally they kiss once and it's at the very end, which was very frustrating to me as a teenager. But you know, but I love the banter and, you know, the clothes and the flirting and all that. So I was willing to put up with the lack of kissing. But yeah, it was great. So how about you, Susan? What book do you read over and over again?
Not nearly as sophisticated as yours. Put yours in the chat because I need books to read. And I haven't read that one. And I take good recommended ones. But mine is called Something Foolish, Something Gay. And this is before gay changed its connotation. I read it in the 8th grade, and I have reread it, and I've read it to my daughters, and I'm going to read it to my granddaughters. Aww. But it is about a boy and girl, teenage boy and girl that live next door to each other, and about how they get together, but they really get together in the first chapter, but it talks about their relationship and before they go on, they're going off to college. But the Something Foolish, Something Gay is she is helping him get a girl, but she doesn't know that she is the girl.
Oh, I love it.
Okay, so he says, you need, you know, or give her some, no, she says, you know, give her something foolish, something gay. And he shows up in the first chapter, end of the first chapter, with a little bitty wiggling puppy. It's something foolish and something gay. So that's where the title comes from. And it's just one of my go-tos if I want. You know, I'm too old to be reading it, but it still makes you feel good. Oh, it's just a cute little book. And I got it off of the Scholastic sheets, the paper sheets in school they used to give out.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And it was one of those books, and my mama was really good. I always, she finally had to say, I can't afford to buy everything, you know. But she did afford to buy every single time.
Oh,
so well, how could she not encourage you to read? I mean, that's well, every parent loves that. I hope.
I think by that time she was encouraging the library, and I had
gotcha.
By that time I had read everything in the library that was romance that you could read. I mean, I was reading stuff that wasn't romance even. But you know, she always gave in. She always did, you know.
She was a good mom.
Yeah, she was always encouraging about the writing, or the reading and the writing. And I wouldn't be where I am today if she hadn't encouraged me. Because you know, you just would have thought, that's a good idea, but I'm not really gonna do that, you know, kind of. And here I am. So
Susan, in that vein, when did you write your first romance? Was it as a young person, or was it not until you were an adult?
No, not until I was an adult. I started off with a nonfiction that truly will never see the light of day because even things have changed, but it was about being a mom in a day and age when, a stay-at-home mom in a day and age when you were supposed to go out and be making a living and shake, you know, being everything in the corporate world. And there I was with 4 little kids. But and now, you know, the pendulum's changed so much on that. So it wouldn't even be, nobody would pick it up and buy it. And then I wrote Nick's book, and then but I remember my mom telling me, she said, you know, you really ought to write one of those romance. You read enough of them, you ought to know how they're done.
Oh,
And so I had that in the back of my head. So after I wrote a nonfiction, I thought, well, I can write this, you know.
mhm.
I just got going. And
So
And
what year was that?
my first book came out in
I'm sorry, say it again.
2008.
2008, and that was your first book, the one that got published first too?
Nick's, yeah, that was
Oh,
the,
wow. Congratulations. That's impressive.
and then my first romance was 2011. So-
Oh, okay. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
And the first romance that you wrote was the first romance that got published.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very impressive. And was it with Harlequin, your first romance?
Uh-huh. But
Okay.
now the thing about it, Nancy, was that I went to conferences and met the editor, and I sent it, and when I met her, I said, you know, mine is waiting on you when you get home. And she was from London. And I said, it's on your desk waiting. So she took my name down. So she had my face with the man.
Mm.
And I really think that made the difference.
Absolutely. That's why we went to conferences for networking, right?
Yeah. And so, and she knew she had met me before that, but she knew I meant business. It wasn't the first time I showed up. So, persistence pays off.
Always. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that.
Oh,
So,
that's cool. I didn't know what your origin story was.
yeah. So what's your origin story?
Well, so I wrote poetry in high school and college. So no novels back then. And I also never intended to make it a career because it's pretty hard to make a career out of writing poetry, obviously. So I did a lot of other things. And then when I quit my job in corporate America and was trying to get pregnant, I wrote a romance, my first romance novel. And that one will never see the light of day because I made every mistake you can possibly make in a book, you know, in a novel in that one. So I put that under the bed. No one will, I don't even know where it is anymore. Hopefully it's like decayed somewhere. And then I had kids, and you know what it's like having kids. So I didn't do any writing until Lucas, my son, went to all-day kindergarten. So that was 2000, I can't remember exactly, early 2000s. And I wrote A Bridge to Love, which is the first romance that I published. And it was published by Berkeley, which was part of Penguin, back in 2003.
Yeah.
And then I just kept going. But I've only written 20 books. I am not nearly as productive as you are.
Yeah, but you write tombs, and I'm just writing chapters.
Well, I mean, to be fair, this one's ridiculous. I mean, even I know this book is ridiculously long, but it was my pandemic book. And, you know, I just kept going. I was just like, I'm having fun. I'm just going to keep on typing. So yeah, it's insanely long. Most of my books are not that long, to be fair.
Well, I've done a lot in the since 2008, but you know, I also I'm conscious. I hate to say old, but I mean, I'm conscious of my age. How long do I want to do it? You know, I had to take an opportunity while I could. And you know, I wasn't any longer taking care of kids, and I was marrying them off, and then that was it. But you know, I had a lot more there for a while. I had a lot more time on my hands, but it seems like now, you know, you get grandkids and the time kind of dwindles again. But that'll change, and they'll get, you know, grown in and go on. But I found that the more I write, the more I have ideas of things to write about. So
That's cool. So your muse gets excited when you're writing. That's great.
Yeah, and so, or like you were talking about rock climbing, learning something new through the book, that keeps your brain strong
Yeah.
and thinking. So, and I asked one time my editor, the head of the line, about, when do you say no more? She said, look, we got somebody that's 100 years old. The lady produces a book. Well, she's passed away since then, but the lady produces a book a year.
Wow, that's impressive.
She'd been with them a while, and she produced a book a year. So, you just kind of keep on, I guess, till you can't do it anymore.
Well,
But
yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure out what I would do if I didn't write. I just can't even imagine. It's my thing, it's what makes me happy. It's what gives me a reason to get up in the morning, I guess, in a way. It's a really important part of my life. So I don't know what I would do if I didn't write, honestly.
I'd have a whole lot more time.
Yeah, but what would you do with it? I mean, honestly, what would you do with it? Work more crossword puzzles? I mean, that's just not that satisfying. It's fun if it's extra, but it's not the main attraction kind of thing,
And I kind of really enjoy being able to say I'm a writer. I'm proud of what I do. So,
Yes, absolutely. And it just, when I get one of those emails that says, I was in the hospital, my husband's in the hospital, and I've been sitting in his room with him, and I was reading Royal Caleva Luis, and it just took me away from the hospital and gave me, a break from all my worries. And you think, that's why I do this, because everybody needs that. I mean, whether you're in a hospital or just in the middle of COVID, or, you have a million screaming kids, everyone needs a break, right? And that's what our books do, I think, is give people that time away.
Yeah, it gives them an escape. I remember when Nick was first born, and somebody, I don't even know who the body was, gave me a book. I think it was called Daisy, and it was a thick book, and I didn't like the story. Or, I mean, it wasn't a romance. It was a family saga sort of thing. Wouldn't have been my pick, but I survived off of that book. I truly survived. Because I read it, and I was dealing with her problems, not my problems, when I went to that book. And you can tell it made a difference, because I actually remember the title of it and tell you the storyline, and I needed that. And I couldn't get I couldn't get away from the hospital to get my own reading material from home.
Right.
And so I read that. And I tell you, another time, when I took the kids to Europe, I took books with me. Now, this is the day a Kindle or whatever is the best thing that's ever happened to.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. When you're traveling, absolutely.
Yeah. And I took I took paperback books with me. They didn't even last me a week.
Yeah.
Thankfully we were in Wales, and they had their Wednesday market day. There was a man that had a whole bunch of paperback Harlequins. He let me trade in. He says, I don't usually do this, but I'm gonna let you. And I traded in books in the middle of that. But we got to Germany, and I could not find an English book anywhere.
Ouch.
I'm telling you, I was just thirsty. And I finally went into a bookstore. Didn't have many books in it at all to sell, but I found one book, and it was a detective in Venice. And I don't usually read detective novels. I swallowed that thing up.
Desperation, absolutely. I mean, like, my worst nightmare is going somewhere and not having a book to read. It just I can't even. It's like, no, anything but that.
Yeah,
I'd rather face Jason in his hockey mask than not have a book to read.
I had too. So I'm really, I keep a book in the back pocket of my car in case I get stuck in traffic. And I haven't read it in years, but I could pick it back up and go, and read it. And I never go to a doctor's office. I don't have a
Oh.
magazine.
No, yeah, I take my Kindle. Well, and the nice thing is I have the Kindle app on my phone. So as long as I have my phone with me, and of course we always have our phones with us nowadays, I can
Yeah.
read a book on the Kindle app. So that's fantastic. Yeah, you get it. I mean, Amazon has its pros and its cons, but I'm very grateful to them for many reasons. But the Kindle is a wonderful thing in my
Yeah, yeah, very, very much so, especially on travel. So that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to just wrap up the official part of pulling back the curtain and then we can keep chatting. So our next pulling back the curtain will be August 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, just like it was tonight. So I hope lots of people will come. So Susan,
I hope everybody will join us again. And this is Susan Carlisle
Nancy Harkness,
and we are signing off for tonight.
thanks so much.
Y'all.